Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is TMI Monday's edition, and it's all about the year 2019 in retrospect, with focus on Edo politics. I have seasoned analysts with me here in the studio, and you love to hear them speak. After all, this is the last Monday for this month, and of course the last Monday for the year 2019. Let me start my introduction by introducing the gentleman sitting very close to me, a legal practitioner, a politician, as a political analyst. Join me to welcome Barrister Washington Osifo. Welcome to the show, Barrister. I appreciate your coming.
Compliments of the season.
Same to you, Barrister. Oh, thank you. Yeah, congratulations. It will suffice.
You know what I mean.
I know what you mean. Sitting very close to him is another legal practitioner, a politician, and of course a political analyst. Join me to welcome Barrister Dan.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me this morning.
All right.
Congratulations.
More congratulatory message. I like that. And of course, you get to hear the Isoweto Africa. From there, he became a politician. But all the same, he's still very much an Isoweto Africa kind of person, an activist. Join me to welcome Honorable Harrison Ezeko. Harrison, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And at the extreme is a man I love so much. When they start talking, be like, hey, Felix, calm down. A legal practitioner, a political analyst, and of course a politician. Join me to welcome Barrister Felix Isere. Barrister, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
All right, same to you. Now, I'd like to sound a note of caution, so to speak, that whatever you hear on this platform is entirely our opinion. It has nothing to do with ITV. We'll make sure to follow the rules and regulations governing the airwaves. Having said that, it's the year 2019 in retrospect at those state politics in focus. Let me start off with you, Barrister Washington Osifo. 2019 has been so eventful, and pundits have been talking majorly about those state politics. I'd like you to share your thoughts and your views in what 2019 really unfolded in Edo politics.
Well, firstly, I think I want to especially congratulate the people of Edo State, most especially my constituency, the Ugunde, the great people of Ugunde.
Yeah.
Now, for me, what is happening in Edo, a preponderance section of it is not entirely new. It's just that maybe as a human being, we are quick to forget things. But as a student of history, but also in politics, I know that the flight became very turbulent, arising from the event that took place in what today is popularly known as the nocturnal inauguration of the Edo State House of Assembly as it is presently constituted today. That was exactly what made it obvious that there was a crack in the house. And between then and now, the flight has been very turbulent. And all efforts by all sections or parties to the party have been trying to bring in solutions one way or the other. Some are saying, no, they don't want it. Others are saying, I think we cannot move on as a people without sitting down to look at where the problems began. And if you shy away from entertaining that togetherness, then one begins to wonder, where lies the future? So for us, or for me in particular, it is not strange. I'm a human being who knows that the journey of life is not always a bed of roses. And I'm also a human being who knows that in it all, no matter how rough the journey is, sometime at some point, it will calm down. The reality of nature, or nature would have brought the reality to the consciousness of man that you don't set the rules. The rules were set before you. If you deviate, it becomes turbulent. But however, the justice, the word justice, and the meals of God will at some point, no matter how slowly it grinds, it will grind exceedingly smooth.
All right. I'll come back to you, Barrister Washington Osifo. Thank you so much for opening the discussion this morning. Barrister Daniel Begie, your thoughts and your view, talking about Edo State politics in the year 2019 in retrospect.
Yes, to take a quick look or summary of politics in Edo State. It started with the presidential and National Assembly election in 2019, and Edo people spoke. Then the House of Assembly election, again, Edo people spoke. We know how the bandwagon effect is in the politics of Nigeria. So when the APC won the general election, the presidential election, it was very easy for Edo people to decide to go the way of the APC in the House of Assembly election. And of course, they also wanted a House of Assembly that will be cooperative with the state government to be able to bring the dividend of democracy to the people of Edo State. So I think that was why they went one way. And for the first time in the history of Edo State, we had one political party having all the elected members of the House of Assembly. So it was for them 24 over 24. And we thought that, okay, we are going to have, the government will have a smooth sail because it will be easy for policies to be formulated. It will be easy for, excuse me, I'm very sorry for that. It will be easy for policies to be formulated, and it will be easy for government to drive its program and policies. But we were surprised when, before the House was inaugurated, there were various subterranean moves to have control of the House of Assembly. I was in my office a certain night, and if I recall, when I think Nigeria versus another country, I think France, in the FIMI World Cup, so I stayed back in the office to finish the match before going home. On my way home, around 10 o'clock, I saw that everywhere was barricaded at Ring Road, and I saw people moving into the House of Assembly. So I discovered that same night that there was going to be an inauguration of the Edo State House of Assembly. I was surprised. I have never seen that before. I am a lawyer. I did government. You know, I am a student of politics. You know, I've been looking at the politics of Nigeria from the very beginning, and even other parts of the world. Not even in India and Uganda did that happen. Not even during the time of Abacha did that happen. There should be a semblance of democracy. Right. Democracy means government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So if it is government of the people and by the people, and I have said in this place and elsewhere that the legislature is the direct representative of the people. All right. So the legislature is actually a place where the people gather to discuss issues concerning them and as regard government. So if you say that our democracy is the government of the people, by the people and for the people, then you should allow the people to freely elect their leadership. I'll come back to that House of Assembly, excuse me, sir. So that House of Assembly, you know, they did it. They invited those who they felt would be loyal to them, and they did not invite those who they felt will not be loyal to them. Okay. And they went at night between the hours of 9:30 and 11 o'clock in the night, and they got people, they inaugurated it, and there was a speaker, there was a deputy speaker, and all of that. So for me, that is wrong. That has precipitated all of this crisis that we have in Edo State currently. All right, I will come back to you, Ogbege, because you're giving your own opinions, your own views about what I saw. I just relayed what I saw. Honorable Harrison Ezeko, you were smiling while he was talking. Go ahead, give expressions to your smile.
For me, I want to look at issues that are going on. We're going to assess the governor when he took over power. Before I even came aboard, it was the same people, our national chairman, respected as Dazambi Oshomole, who personally informed Edo people, convinced everybody, including us, that the only man that can take over from him is Godwin, that's Obaseki. Every other person who paraded themselves were not qualified for the job. And some persons were able to show the way out. Some persons were locked in their house, beaten, convinced them to make sure they give the support. And Avun sold this man to us and told us that this is the man for the work. And the man eventually became the governor of the state. And the man have decided to do what the former principal taught him and what he felt he should do for the state. And for us who are strictly supporting him, our support is based on his performance, based on what they promised the people. You have to look at issues from the public, the people. The man came aboard. Nobody in the state will ever believe that we'll be able to stop alcoholism in our street. That people, that civil servant can collect revenue in the state. It was, in fact, if anybody have said, people will tell you it cannot happen. But today, I work in the local government. Women go there with their phone and collect revenue. And sometimes the government say that it's only men that collect revenue. It's not true. From there, the man also make sure that he sanitizes our streets. Today, if you go to Ring Road, you can drive past Ring Road without any problem. But before today, when the election is coming like that, when you make policy, people go back. So our support is based on the policy that is on ground. And the man went further to work with the Oba Benin and sanitize our community. If I tell you 2-3 years back, one person from community, the name of CDA, can even tell Nokia, Zionist, he will walk him out of the community, he will not come there. You will buy land in Benin, you cannot go and develop your land. The place was full of, it looked as if there was no government. People were doing whatever they like and they get away with it. I was even a victim. And so this man was able to come up with policy, strong will. He came out with political will and he put a stop to some of these things. And today, as I speak with you, our personnel no longer go to the streets to protest. Salary come as I went in. As I speak with you today, even personnel that were not screened got their pension money on or before 25th of this December to go and do their Christmas. These are policies, these are innovation that is coming in from this government. And if you go to the infrastructure, if you be sincere with yourself, we have lawyers here, let them go to the judges' quarter. Let them go to the Palmas, the High Court area, and go and see what is happening there. A friend of mine came from abroad, he had to go there to go and record to see the innovations that are going there. So these are the bases we are assessing the government. As I speak with you, sir, a new road has been linked. We have created a new city between Oredu and Ikobaha in my ward where I stay. As I speak with you today, there is a stretch lane to our to Saple Road. And the last time the assessment I did there, they have been able, the stores that are in that road now is over 1,000. Let's assume they are just employing 2 persons. So we are looking at the performance of the government to give him support. Okay. That because of what this man has done, because he had the political will to actually stand by what he has said, to be able to push the strong men from our street and make sure the people can be happy. On that basis, we are giving him support.
All right.
On the issue of the State House of Assembly, you see, when you are training people, when you are working, there is an adage in Benin, I will interpret. A man that used to be true for the Oba, because he was so powerful, he was so good, he felt that if he died, no other person can do that work. Eventually, one day, I told the Oba that he was alive, he said he's dead, and somebody here started to do it. This was the boys that were taught this job. It's not new. In Edo State, in the last dispensation, 8 people passed budget. Edo State were moved from Ring Road to Government House. Heaven did not fall. No. So it is something that has been on ground. People have been learning from it. Those who taught are now also coming to that, but they have to not do it in the night because this is a new strategy. Right. We are not saying that all is well with the party. If I not say this way, that all is well with the party, I'm only deceiving myself.
Okay.
The party, there are issues, but my prayer is that we'll be able to resolve this issue so that the party himself will not become the victim.
All right, I will come back to you, Honorable Harrison. You talked about teacher and, of course, students. You thought of this and strategy. You're going to throw more light on that when they get next to your turn. Now, Barrister Felix, you've heard 3 of them. Over to you.
I think the first thing I want to say here is first to thank ITV for giving a platform for people to express themselves, especially at this time when our democracy seems to be at a very big risk in Edo State. Having said that, the issue we are having today can be looked back from the presidential election, where we realize that the governor of the state, the governor lost his polling units, lost his ward, lost his local government, lost his senatorial district, where the members of the party have said that, oh, the governor, when you were giving appointments, when we were doing local government election, you said that if you don't win your unit, you cannot contest an election. You cannot get an appointment. That was the law you made when you came as a governor. Now you have lost your unit, you have lost your ward, you have lost your local government, you have lost your senatorial district. You are not so entitled to contest in the next election. Because that also showed that the governor is not popular as many of them have claimed. If a city councillor can win his unit, there's no reason why a city governor cannot win his unit. So that was the first step of this issue of Edo State in 2019. We now came to the House Assembly that was inaugurated. I wouldn't want to talk too much about inauguration, but I want to disabuse the minds of people who have said that, oh, the governor has performed, it is safe to come back. On my way to this place this morning, I did a little assessment psychologically. Looking at the road, there was no traffic in this road. The road is now 8 lanes. That is the job of one man, past governor of Edo State, who created that, who said that, oh, there is hold up in this road. I want to ensure that there is no hold up again. I also passed through this road and I saw Red Roof Secondary School along this way that was built by the former governor. And I asked myself a question. With the 3 years of this governor right now, can anybody pinpoint one thing that has been achieved in this government along this Borough Road? Nothing. I want to analyze sector by sector how the government has failed in 2019. First, democracy. You know, it was Bill Clinton who said that for you to determine a government, for you to judge a government, you must study how the government values democracy. A government that has no respect for democracy is a fake government. If a government under his leadership, we have minority presiding over majority, which is the desecration of democratic institutions, it means that that government is a fake government. If we have a government that undermines the judiciary in the process of appointment, I'm a lawyer, the lawyers were not happy that today there are vacancies in the judiciary, the judges. Why? Because the governor refused to approve the process of appointing 5 judges that was already completed. He said, I'm not a part of this, there's no money to pay 5 judges. Even when the immediate past CJ in an LCT speech, she lamented that today the governor could not continue the process of appointing 5 judges on the claim that there's no money in the Edo State. But under this watch, we have realized that all Dick and Harry, they are giving appointments. Once you can shout 4+4 in the street, you are giving appointment. Once you can insult Oshomole on social media, you are giving appointment, and there's money to pay this person. Meanwhile, the judiciary that represents the hope of the common man, the governor refused to support it for appointment. Right. Have a look at that. Let us go to the economy. When the governor came, he said the technocrat that he wants to create an industrial hub in Edo State. But can you pinpoint one industry that has been built in Edo State for the past 3 years? When the governor came, he said he was ensured to ensure poverty. Go and look at the indices of poverty in the world today, and look at where those things fit into. Okay. Today, we have seen unemployment in the street today, because before you mobilize talks, you see talks everywhere. That is to show the failure of leadership in Edo State, that no recruitment has been done, no wealth creation has been made, nothing has been done to empower the youth for the past 3 years. The governor came and said he's a technocrat. He wants to ensure that, oh, he creates wealth. But today, go and look at our debt profile. Edo State is now ranked the second indebted state in Nigeria, which is an insult to all of us. What is the money they are collecting for the POS? Oh, there's no payroll, we are not sharing money, there's POS everywhere, we are getting more money. But today, we are indebted. What has happened? Today, insecurity has become worse. Kidnapping all over the day. That is the failure of leadership. Again, a governor that claimed that is the leader of APC cannot unify the party. Under his watch, the party has been divided. Under the watch, young boys are insulting leaders of the party. Under his watch, there is show of arrogancy, vindictiveness, abuse of power, and all sorts of shenanigans. All right, it's an insult to those people, and that is the failure of leadership.
I'll come back to you, Barrister Felix, but I'd like to caution all of you. It's like tempers are beginning to rise up gradually, like what I used to say, watch your emotions. I'll let you go that end, because Harris has said something positive to balance up the trend. There also be a divergent view and opinion. Harrison, just take note of what he said. You're going to counter it when it gets to your turn. Barrister Washington, in your opening remark, you talked about turbulence. You talked about things not going smoothly. You talked about the beginning of it all, when Edo became something of an attention that all states in the Federation are looking at Edo. Now, to throw a statement or two from what Harrison said, he said, look, this is not new. After all, 8 persons passed budget. The House was moved from the Assembly ground to the Government House. Imperial administration, nothing is new. Take it up from there.
Well, I can excuse a much older person when they make such remarks. For me, maybe they have obtained their boarding passes and they are just about to go to the other side. So the responsibility to correct those errors for which life gives you the opportunity to do by seeing just another day, rest squarely in our shoulders as the young ones. So when you justify the evil of one as a means of correcting the ills of another, assuming without considering that both in facts and circumstances were the same, it will not add up. For us, the question therefore will be to my young man. Of course, you introduced him and you said he's coming from the Aluta background. And you said he's still behaving like that. But for me, the challenge is this. When I match what he has said, and I match the situation in Edo, the only thing that is right, or seem to be right, or have the semblance of correctness, is that in the party, all is not well. Now, but to justify whatever was done in the House, he's a legislator at the local assembly. Yeah. Now, I want to ask, when he was elected by his people to make laws for the good governance of Oredo, did he contemplate that one day in the process of inauguration, he will not be invited to be there? And what is it? He contested the election to represent his people and make good laws for the good governance of the foundation, the boundaries of Oredo. He's doing that today because he was invited. Now the question is it, assuming you were not invited, your dreams to make laws for the good governance of that square, is not allowed. Would your remarks be the same as you have made today? Assuming, maybe the answer for him, I don't know, is yes or no. But one thing I want to say, as a young man, even in office, we must have the character to speak truth to power. I am proud of the kind of courage God has given to me, to know that I have said it here, times without number, that if you have 1,000 years to live on earth, one day you will take the last breath. I have seen great men take their last breath and they are gone. Their eyes are closed in death. Body becomes stone cold. Everything that used to matter will matter no more. Even your children, your wealth, what you lived for, wrong or good ideas will not matter anymore. But it will be left in the hands while they look at you, stone cold and eyes closed in death. Those who come to mourn with your family will be the one to say, oh, he was a good man, or oh, he was a bad man. Although in the human content, as it is today, because you can still breathe, you will think that tomorrow doesn't matter. There are 2 days that are sacrosanct in the history of, in the life of man. One is today. The other day is yesterday. My dear, yesterday comes once. That today, tomorrow will always come, whereas today comes once. What we live for is tomorrow. What my young man must live for is tomorrow. Now, when I was in office, let the world be my witness, and I stand to be challenged. I sat here and in other stations, sister stations of this Federation of Nigeria, and I identified those things that were not going well in government, and I had courage within in ESCO as ESCO member and out as a man doing his job as a commissioner to speak truth to power. The basis of my being in politics today was not to come and be a friend of the governor. No. Was not to come and be the friend of the president. No. It is to leave a legacy which will speak for me when I'm long gone. The truth is that Washington, whether Washington Osifo, whether Governor Godwin Obaseki, whether Frank Okiye, whether the 13 others or the 8 or the 9 others paraded themselves as members of the State House of Assembly, or whoever is in the ring of boxing that we are today, the truth is that one day we will become yesterday. Now, I work for that future that I will be proud of, wherever I will be, dead or alive, wherever I will be, I will say, my children will say, my dad worked for this. Let me tell you, I saw this speaker, the man that parades himself as speaker, my friend, my brother.
He was elected as a speaker.
Excuse me, that is my language, not your language.
All right, but still
as a legal language, it is legal to use the word purported. Okay? I cannot be challenging a matter in court and be conferring on him the title of the speaker. It doesn't make sense. The law does not say so. This is not NBC. The NBC understands the position of the law. The word purported is legal. He purported himself to be the speaker, okay? And now, he relied on section 109 F1 to declare the seats vacant. In all falls and circumstances, it was similar. Of course, he also relied on a case that went to the Supreme Court and all of that. In Mike Oloyo versus Chief Benson Alegbe. Yeah. The facts are clear. The facts are clear. Now, what he relied, what the issues or the facts in Benson Alegbe versus Mike Oloyo's case was this. Just as he declared these seats vacant, Mike also declared, Benson also declared the seat as speaker, then in Bender State House Assembly, declared a seat of Mike Oloyo's vacant.
All right.
On the basis of that, he went to court and challenged it. The court of first instance, which is the Bender State High Court, found in his favor, this is the honorable member, that the speaker didn't have the powers to declare those seats vacant. At best, those powers were reserved clearly for the Bender State High Court. On that, the speaker went challenging the decision of the lower court in the Court of Appeal. And the Court of Appeal have found, reversed the judgment of the lower court.
So what are the Supreme Courts?
I found reversed the judgment of the lower court and found in favor of Chibiye Alegbe that he was the position to declare the vacancy vacant was valid. On that, Mike Oloyo, my colleague, took it upstairs to the Supreme Court, and the 7 justices unanimously agreed that the Bender State Court of Appeal, Bender State High Court was right. There was no dissenting voice. Now, when I sit and I ask myself, is it that they don't read? Or if they read, they have a conscience that is blind to the position of the law? That a matter that was settled in 1981 is resurrecting its head, something similar is resurrecting its head again in 2019. Look, and I begin to ask myself, where as a people are we really going to?
All right. I'll come back to you, Barrister Washington Osifo. Now, to you, Ogbegye, people may have various views and opinions on your stance right now. You know why, because I wouldn't want to go into history. Now, it's all about what all of you agreed to. It all started, the sign became visible when there was an inauguration. Some were invited, some were not. You get to hear rumor that they were invited, but they didn't respond, and all that. You as a person, do you think that declaring the seats vacant, taking the lead from what Barrister Osifo said, is healthy for the House? Or is the right thing to do? After all, according to Harrison, 8 persons passed the budget in the previous administration.
You know, I always tell people that I am a servant to the truth. No matter where I stand, no matter where I sit, my focus is always on the truth. May I never see the day where I will have to see the truth and say something else. I'm focused on the truth at all times. I recall when this inauguration happened, I was invited to ITV. Then I was a member of the PDP. And I said clearly that there was no inauguration. Inauguration was done at night. And there was no way you could do inauguration between the hours of 9:30 and 11 o'clock. At that time, I was not even aware that other members of the House of Assembly were not invited. You had 9 people or 8 people there that night. And they quickly elected their officers. It was the following day I got to know that 14 other members of the House of Assembly were not invited. You saw pictures in that inauguration where one even went with boxers. He was woken up from sleep. He went in his boxers to be inaugurated. Is an embarrassment. But no matter where we stand, and no matter the opinions we decide to enunciate, we must understand that what is important is for us to is Edo State. Edo State is much more important than any political party, than any political personality. We all will come and go. There was an Bruce Ali as governor of Bender State. There was a Chief Odige Oyegun as governor of Edo State. We have had Lucky Binejo as governor of Edo State. There have been Osunbo, Oshomole, and now we have Obaseki. Obaseki will go and another person will come. But Edo will remain. Edo has been existing as an entity for over 1,000 years. So we must focus on what will be in the overall interest of Edo State. And in focusing on that, we must look at what is the remote cause of all of these crises bedeviling our political space. The remote cause is this: that a particular man wants to return as governor of Edo State for a second term. When he came in 2015, God, you know Baseki, nobody knew him, nobody in the political space knew him, nobody in Edo State actually knew him. He was a private business person in Lagos. he was brought by the extra governor of Edo State, Adams Oshomole, who introduced him to party people who rejected him because they all had their own aspirants. But Adams Oshomole was able to convince them. I understand that politics is about negotiation and persuasion. You negotiate, you persuade. So he was able to persuade his lieutenants who supported him, and Godwin Obaseki won overwhelmingly in the APC primaries. Then he faced Edo people in a keenly contested election against Osagie Ezeyamu, and of course, because of the support of Adams Oshomole, he won. I will quickly quote the statement Godwin Obaseki made in November 2016 during his own inauguration and swearing in. He made this statement. He said, taking the reins of office from our one and only comrade Adams Oshomole, my leader and mentor, who is also leader and mentor of many of us, is an honor for me that I will always treasure. He went further to say, he said, I will always respect and hold very dear his love, his trust and confidence and counsel and inspiration. This was Godwin Obaseki in November 2016. Then Godwin Obaseki in December, just a few days ago, was that saying that Adams Oshomole is a bad person. He said all sorts of derogatory things against him. He said he must be removed as chairman of the party. He said he has been suspended as a member of the party for bad behavior until he purges himself of iniquity and comes begging to him. So what I have seen in all of this, because Adams Oshomole came out,
no,
Adams Oshomole was...
He did not say come begging to talk about come begging,
he said
apologize to the APC according to the print of the print.
We are saying the same thing.
All
he
right.
said until he apologizes.
All right.
Until he apologizes.
All right.
Now, you can see the plurality between these two statements. Godwin Obaseki in September 2019, few weeks ago or few months ago, he said that he deserved a second term, that it was non-negotiable, that his second term was non-negotiable.
He has the right to say that.
No, he said non-negotiable.
But he has the right to say that.
Politics is about negotiation.
Right.
Politics is about interaction.
Okay.
It's about persuasion.
Right.
You persuade your opponent to support you. You tell them, you show them reason why they should support you. You do not compel them to support you. So the problem that we are having is that Godwin Obaseki, the governor of Edo State, is blended by ambition to return.
No, hold on now. Take that back. All right.
Now, I said the problem is this. From these two statements that you have seen, and from the fact that he's saying that he demands a second term. The man is demanding with a menace that he must be given a second term. So if he is saying that, he says it's even non-negotiable.
All
so
right.
no matter, sorry sir, just a minute. No, so that no matter, he's trying to foreclose the political space for himself alone. You saw what happened last week when Professor Julius Ihonvere was going to give empowerment to the members of his own federal constituency. Tours were saying there to stop it. You saw what happened when Pastor Osagie Ezeyamu was coming to join the APC as a member, which ought to be a plus. And any member of the APC ought to be happy that such a political personality was coming to the party. You saw what happened when they tried everything possible to stop it from happening. So that is what the problem is.
Okay, thank you.
Whether Obaseki is performing or not is not even the issue. Because no man is good enough to compel another man to support him without his own against his own volition.
Thank you, Obegie. At least,
so if I'm able to stop that,
I will come back to you.
Then there will be peace.
I will come back to you.
Sir, just
hold on. Hold on. Not to worry. That's going to come out later when you get to your talk. No, hold on.
Let me add this.
Hold on. We have other discussions. I'll come back to you. Obegie.
Calm down.
Calm down. But I still want to warn, whatever they say here is the opinion. It has nothing to do with ITV. We're doing our best possible to make sure to follow the rules and regulations governing the airwaves. Of gentlemen, please watch your emotions. I must stop in. You know what that means. Please watch your emotions, all right? Now, over to you, Honorable Harrison. You've heard from both of them. He kind of, countered what you said about the achievement of the governor, talking about Barrister Felix, and now Barrister Obegie. You are in government. You are in the train. I believe that you may have information at your disposal that is not known to the public. So take it up from there about the politics. He now, hold on. Now, he talked about, the government talking about, he demand as saying, he really deserved. He deserved. Yes, a second term. No, don't use the word menacingly. No, he did it. He didn't do it menacingly. He just spoke. Not menacingly, please, because at least.
He said, I demand.
So, over to you, Harrison.
I think, let me take it from the bottom, from the last statement he made, that whether the governor is performing or not is not an issue. You see, it's paining me today that
issue is about democracy.
Please don't interject. He owns the floor.
It's a pity that will come here to run down our party. It's a pain to me. Because we know the damage we are doing. Because if tomorrow we decide to, okay, go this way, that maybe the government said it's not contesting. The same party you have said that is not performing. How do you know?
It's not the party we said. It is the governor.
He owns the floor.
Correct
He
him.
did not interject.
So it doesn't misquote us.
He did not interject.
He's misquoting.
No. Let him talk. Let him talk.
Let us address the issue.
That's what we are addressing.
We should not attack the person. Everybody have rights on this issue, on who you will support. And if you listen to me very clearly, when I started my presentation, I said my support for the government is based on this performance. I am on the side of the people. If the people of Edo State go to the street and do your comprehensive analysis, are the people saying this man has done well? Are the people saying this man has been able to stand with some policies that you have done, the policies say true? If yes, and that is last time, whether I'm in government is one issue. If I'm not in government, because I'm a progressive, because of my background, I will be on the side of Governor Baseki. Let me remind us. You talked about how Baseki is talking to Oshomole the way he likes and all that. You brought Iseyabu matter into this issue. Go to the media, go everywhere. There is nothing on this side of Adam Oshomole did not say about Iseyabu. Did he not receive them Iseyabu to the party? It's all politics. So let us not people say this as if what we are seeing here is new. The reason why we talk about this, I told you that what is happening there is not new. There is nothing that happened that is new. This thing has been happening. You cannot begin to do things the same way and you expect a different result. I told you that somebody taught these people this work. In the last election of Godino Baseki, some persons were kidnapped. Some people were locked inside the house. In my ward, one man led all the delegates to his hotel and locked them up. Nobody, no access, and collected their phone until they voted. So what are we talking about? These things have been there.
His opinion.
What we are saying is that the Edo State people, the common people, because the politicians are less than 10%. We that are talking now, we are the politicians because we have interest. This issue is all about interest. Because my interest is not being fed here, that it will go this way. And those who feel that this is where it's supposed to be, they are also on this side. We should begin to look at the general public, the entire people in the state. Are they happy with what the government is doing? If they are happy, the governor deserves the second time. If the governor says he deserves the second time, what do you expect him to say? Will he use his mouth and say he should not get a second time? If your mouth you used to say what you want to become. When I was also running, we had 5 candidates. When I stood up, I told them I am the best. And then one man asked me, why did I say I'm the best? I am the best because I know I'm the best. They have their mouth, but they also say their own. So what I'm saying in essence this morning is that we should first of all think about our party. If there are issues, and this person, let it go this way. For the sake of the general member of this party, for the sake of the party, can we handle this issue in a way that at the end of the day we will not have more issues? The governor of Edo State, as far as I'm concerned, has performed. You said the governor has done nothing. I just lied. You said I've done nothing. You are a lawyer. Thank God you go to magistrate court. You go to that court and go and see the number of judges that be created there. Because we will come on air to talk. We don't even consider people at home listening to us. We don't even come with facts. Go to ICE. The zonal hub there, I've got a number of jobs that have been created on a daily basis. Let's not come here and say things because we just hate one man. If you say the governor has done nothing, you have been economical to the truth.
He didn't say so.
Excuse me, please.
Just to clear him.
That is what he said.
Let him land.
He didn't say he has not done nothing.
So this governor has been able to change the handwriting. Yes, it's true. It's not going down well with everybody because that is not how it used to be. Before today, government money go to private hands. People were collecting revenue. They became so big to the extent that you can't even talk to them. And these things are changed. You don't expect them to be happy. They will react. But in all of this, we can come to a compromise. The governor of Edo State, as far as I'm concerned, I believe in his policy. I believe in his ideology. He might not have that political way to just do the way it is coming, but that does not to say that we that are party members will not say that the governor has done nothing. The people of Edo State are looking at the performance of this government. They are not bothered about our fight. If you fight, when you finish fighting, you are going to come back. If the election comes tomorrow, and Obaseki emerges as the candidate, we are not even going to campaign. That is the truth. That is the truth. So let us sit down. If there's any way we can proffer solution, we can bring advice on the way we can actually address this issue, that is what we are supposed to be saying. I am happy this way that all of us are members of this party. That we come here, we run down the party because we are hungry. If you say the government is not doing anything, he represents APC. Without Obaseki today, there is no APC. So how can you come to the public and run down your party because you hate the man at the center?
All right.
I have never in history raised words on any other person that is the other side. We have members of the same party. And let me tell you today, we will still work together tomorrow. If Pastor can cross 2 days ago and come back, the same man that Oshobo said is going to die, is a thief, is this, is he not back to the party? What are we talking about? So let us be objective. Let us look at how we can proffer solution to all this problem.
All right.
To say that the governor has done nothing, I think that statement should be withdrawn. Please, let us do things right. I am a legislator at the local level. You told the man, if there was no quarrel with the man, with that inauguration at night, because there were issues. And the same people are
Thank God.
I'm on the floor. It's on the public domain.
Do not interject, please.
If there were no issue, we don't do it in the night. You expect the man to sit down and allow you to take government from me. It will not work.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Those of you who taught the boys, taught the man how to do this work, he's not doing it better.
Thank you.
Harrison, when I said that, he learned it from the previous administration.
Harrison, thank you.
When they removed the roof in that, we were in this state. When he took the people to us, we were in this state.
Harrison, thank you.
Nobody cried. Nobody said one is going to fall.
Harrison.
I am not saying that it's right, but I'm only saying that you is a process of reaping what you have sown.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Harrison. Harrison.
God is no more.
Harrison.
Thank
you, Harrison. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Harrison. Thank you. Well, like what we said earlier on, is their own opinion. You have to have a balance for and, of course, against. It's all about the year 2019 in retrospect, Edo State politics in focus, turbulence here and there, trouble here and there, storms here and there. And now we are entering into 2020. Should Edo State continue with this type of upheaval in the same party come 2020? Way out for solution, because we've said everything yes in the past. Now we are going straight to 2020. Felix, accusations and counter accusations. After all, one went over to give a peace offering which was rejected. So how can we find peace and stability come 2020?
Wilson, if you look at the history of Germany today, Adolf Hitler can be regarded in the world as one of the great leaders that we ever had. Are we saying that he did do anything at all in Germany?
Exactly.
He did something. But today is recorded as one of the worst leaders Germany has ever had. In Nigeria today, we regard Abacha as the worst head of state we have ever had. Are you saying that Abacha did not even build one school? So when we are saying leadership failure, we know what we are talking about. You know, there will not be time for me to address all the issues my friends have, but I want to raise one. He talked about
solution right now. Peace ground, yes.
He talked about issue of we should not abuse our party, we should not destroy our party. Come on, I don't know what my friend is talking about. The genesis of this issue can be traced to the fact that the governor has no respect for the party leadership.
No, you don't say that.
A governor that came.
Oh, hold on. You wouldn't say doesn't have respect.
God respect. I want to give you facts. When the governor came, he said he is not going to share money for party leaders. That is a public domain. He said my government is going to focus on the people. Party leaders are greedy, they are thieves. I'm not going to share money to them. That alone is not only maligning the character of your party leaders and members, it's not only defaming their character, it's maliciously destroying their political career. A governor that has said those things against his party members and leaders, morally, does that governor deserve to run under that party? If you claim that the governor has worked very well, he has performed very well, why disturbing himself in destroying the APC very much on that party? In Anambra State, if you realize that I am very popular, I can win the election. He went to YPP and he won the election. So I don't see why the government is wasting his time destroying the APC.
Hold on. Felix, this is where I step in. Nobody's trying to destroy anything here. I've told you before.
It's his opinion. It's his opinion.
Watch your emotions. Watch your emotions. Now, hold on. Felix, Harrison, please calm down. He owns the floor. Now, focus on the way forward.
I'm looking at the way forward.
That's what he's saying.
Any party.
A governor that has the mind to ensure that majority of his party members were not inaugurated. People were elected by their constituency who voted for him as the governor. Such a governor does not want the unity of the party. A governor that has done everything possible to bring down anybody that wants to rise from the party. For example, someone from his party was appointed NDC chairman and board member. The man went with other PDP governors to Abuja to protest against it. That those states does not deserve any NDC chairman.
Do you have proof of this?
That is in the public domain.
Do you have proof of this?
They were reported in the papers. They are there in the papers.
If you don't have proof, you don't have to say it.
I wouldn't want to be stopped in giving on what I know.
But without proof, it's invalid.
ITV carried the news.
It's not true.
ITV carried the
Was it
news.
not on ITV?
Governors.
Yes, now.
Governors went to president to complain about this appointment. And one of the points they raised was that Edo State did not deserve any this chairman. And the deputy governor of Edo State represented the governor in that meeting. So what I would say, again, right now, the governor is ensuring that Edo State has national chairman, protesting against national chairman, that it does not deserve to become national chairman, mobilizing people to ensure that even the last next meeting, he was removed. Such a governor does not deserve to be elected by those people again.
All right, thank you, Felix. Thank you, Felix. I'm getting strong signal that we should call it a wrap because we have other segments to take care of, okay? Tempers went high. But Barrister, what are you going to have the last say on this? The way forward, you have just 2 minutes. For the rules and regulations governing the airwaves, 2 minutes to call it a wrap on this show. Quickly.
Well, I think nothing desecrates a house. I understand what my brother was trying to say. You don't destroy a party and you are members of the party and all of that. But the truth is that if you had sickness, death will be the consequence.
Yes.
So the party is not bigger than the people. We must think less of the party and think more of the people. And again, to correct an impression, if there is anybody around the system that means well for our government, what they must be told is that they are quick to reduce it to just politicians to just 10%. Now, this 10%, the multiplier effect by way of mobilizing votes, if they are not there, no party can win any election.
All right. Thank you so much, Barrister Washington Sifo. Thank you so much, Barrister Obege Daniels, and of course, Honorable Harrison Ezeko, Barrister Felix Isera. Appreciate all of you. They are all members of the same party. If we don't quarrel, we don't find how to really come back together. All about the year 2019 Retrospects, Edo State politics in focus. Whatever you heard here is their own opinion. It has nothing to do with ITV. We'll make sure they follow the rules and regulations governing the airwaves. Thank you once more, gentlemen. I appreciate the wonderful analysis. You can extend the hands of great in fellowship to others. Yeah, you see, they're all brothers, but tempers sometimes do flare. It does go up, and of course, it will definitely calm down. We'll be right back after this break.